WWE's biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, is in the books, and we have got so much to talk about. We've got new champions, returning superstars, and some ongoing drama that I cannot wait to see play out. Let's get into it. This is About Last Night on Rumble Rewind. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rumble Rewind. My name is Brandon, and we've got a lot to talk about surrounding SummerSlam, new champions. We've got some ongoing stories that are super interesting, and I can't wait to see them play out, and a major return that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Before we dive into all of that, though, do me a quick favor and scroll down below this video, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and turn on your post notifications so that you never miss an upload. We would love to continue to grow this channel. We're getting closer and closer to our first goal of 200 subscribers when we're going to do a big giveaway of some CM Punk merch, and we would love for you to be eligible for that. The only way to be eligible for that giveaway is to be one of our wonderful subscribers, and every one of those likes and subscribes really helps the channel to grow, and we really appreciate it. All right, without further ado, let's dive in and talk about SummerSlam. We got 7 matches, lots of things going on. Really, every time we see a PLE, I feel like Triple H says the landscape is about to change, but I do think that out of SummerSlam, the landscape has definitely changed. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker first up. This match to me felt like the low point of the card. It was only about 5 minutes long, but to be honest, that's what I was hoping for. You know how I feel about Sami Zayn as a champion if you've been watching this channel for a while. I really felt like it was time for Sami to drop that belt and move on to something different. So, as underwhelming as the actual match was, it was good to see Braun get this win. It was good to see him get it in a fairly dominant fashion and pick up his first championship on the main roster. There's no doubt in my mind that Braun Breaker is going to be a megastar in the future, and this is the first step towards that. So my pick for this one was Braun Breaker, and I am so excited to see him carry that championship. Now, that said, I think I'll probably get tired of him if he continues to dominate and kind of ends up looking more and more like Goldberg every week, but we'll see where it goes. I've got high hopes for this championship run. And I've got high hopes for what happens next for Sami Zayn. I know there's a lot of talk about him getting involved in the Bloodline Civil War, and I think that would be a great move to kind of get that classic Bloodline back together as we move forward. But we'll have to see, because he is on Raw, they're on SmackDown, but anything can change in the WWE at a moment's notice. All right, but tell me your thoughts on that match and on Braun Breaker as the Intercontinental Champion in general. Who do you see as his next opponent, and where do you see Sami going from here? All right, let's move on to the next match we want to talk about today, and it is Bayley defending her championship against Nia Jax. Now, my pick for this was that we would get a new champion in Nia Jax, and that is exactly what happened. Most of this story of the WWE Women's Championship has now begun to surround Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany being Miss Money in the Bank, and her being really good friends both on screen and off screen with Nia Jax. The story here is, when will Tiffany turn on her friend and cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase? On the side of Bayley, though, I kind of feel bad. Her championship reign was just not it. It wasn't a great reign. There wasn't a lot of story surrounding it. Heck, she couldn't even get on the posters, and I know that there's a lot of social media outrage about that, which is kind of well-founded. She's been one of the 2 key champions on SmackDown and kind of has been pushed to the background anyway. Her story of getting to the championship was incredible, and then it really went nowhere. Then we get Nia Jax as Queen of the Ring, the championship changes hands, and I'm looking forward to the stories that are going to result. As a face, Bayley is a lot like Sami Zayn. She is a lot better in chase mode, trying to conquer the big bad heel than she is as a champion. And so I'm curious to see where we go with Bayley from here. There's a lot of talk about the WWE introducing women's mid-card championships, such as a Women's United States Championship or a Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think Bayley could contend for one of those, maybe even be the inaugural champion of one of those and help legitimize the championship. There are a lot of options, there are a lot of possibilities for Bayley, and I'm sure she will find her groove going forward. Let me know your thoughts. Where do we go with Bayley, and how long before Tiffany Stratton tries to cash in on her BFF Nia Jax? Let's move on and talk about CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. Now, this was the only match on the card that was not for a championship. This was a straight up blood feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, of course, because Drew injured CM Punk at Royal Rumble, and CM Punk has been costing Drew every opportunity he's had ever since. Drew McIntyre would get this win. This was the first one of the night that I was incorrect in my pick. I really thought CM Punk was going to win. I thought Punk needed the win more than Drew, but the way the storyline played out was really, really good, was really well done, and it all kind of pointed towards a $1.50 bracelet, which for a lot of people has been kind of a turnoff, but for me, it's so much more than that. It's not about the bracelet, it's about what the bracelet represents. Drew's trying to take everything from Punk, Punk's trying to take everything from Drew, and these two just want to hurt each other. And that's kind of how it went for the most part. Late in the match, Punk would hit Seth with a GTS because of a serious misunderstanding, but this would allow Drew to hit Punk with the low blow and a Claymore to get the win. I'm really curious where this story goes. I don't think it's even close to over. I think these two are going to continue to feud for a little while longer until we transition into a Punk versus Seth Rollins feud, and that is going to take us into WrestleMania. I'm really looking forward to the continuation of this story. Both of these guys, all three of them really, have been doing a great job of keeping this feud really, really hot, especially if you consider that this feud started in January and this was the first one-on-one match between the two. So where do you think it's going to go? Let me know in the comments. Are we going to see more from Punk and Drew, or are we going to just kind of shift and move on to a Punk versus Seth Rollins feud? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. All right, let's shift back to some championship matches, as the rest of the matches on the card were all for titles. Let's talk about LA Knight, taking on Logan Paul for the United States Championship. This is another feud that's been going on for a while, and yet we're just now getting our first one-on-one match in that feud. Most people, I know there are some Logan Paul fans out there, bless you, but at any rate, it was time for LA Knight to pick up a championship, and he finally did. LA Knight gets the win despite outside interference from MGK, despite the use of the brass knuckles. Despite all of this, LA Knight comes out on top and gets the win in what was honestly a really, really good match. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll keep saying it. Logan Paul is way too good in the ring for as little time as he's had. On the other side, you've got LA Knight, who is going to be a fighting champion. I wouldn't be surprised if he did a title defense this Friday, just to show that he's a full-timer, that he's going to be all in. I'm excited to get the United States Championship back on TV, and I'm really excited to see what LA Knight does in his first championship reign. This is a trial period for LA Knight. If he can do really, really well and continue to elevate the United States Championship, I could see him in world title contention at some point. I think that he would be a great world champion. I think he's got that potential. But as we know, the window is closing on LA Knight, so I am excited to see that they put a championship on him, and I am excited to see where he goes from here. I think it's going to be an incredible reign. Can't wait to see what he does with it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Next up, let's talk about Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa in a Bloodline Rules match for the undisputed title. My pick in this one was Cody Rhodes, and he did come out on top. But the match was not the story. Obviously, Bloodline Rules meant everybody and their mother was going to get involved. In fact, The Rock's mother was at ringside, but she did not get involved. Too bad. Anyway, we saw everything we thought we would see. First of all, it was a great match. Solo Sikoa has stepped up. The guy can go. He's got the stuff to be a main eventer down the road. In fact, I think he proved that tonight. But we all kind of knew that this match wasn't going anywhere until all the interference started. Of course, the Bloodline would be the first to interfere. We'd get Tama Tonga coming out. We got Tonga Loa out there doing his signature botch moves. Obviously, this would bring Kevin Owens and Randy Orton out to the ring. They would clear the ring of the Bloodline. And finally, we got Jacob Fatu, who just threw down and showed everybody why he's a future world champion. Solo would end up with the advantage after Jacob Fatu hit Cody with an Uso-style splash off the top rope onto the announce table, however injuring himself in the process. Solo had the advantage, and it looked like he had a shot until the music hit and the OTC, the original Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, came to the ring, stared down Cody, hit Solo with a Superman punch and a spear, and basically turned and walked out. Cody hits the crossroads, gets the win, keeps the championship, and has a stare down with Roman Reigns where he taps the title like this, signaling that there's definitely going to be a third match between the two of them. Now, what does this mean for the Bloodline? What does this mean for the WWE Undisputed Championship? What does this mean for Solo Sikoa? What I think it means for Solo is the dude should be on the run. He should enter witness protection because the real tribal chief is back. We are entering the Bloodline Civil War era now as it stands. I hope that he shows up on SmackDown to address Solo Sikoa. And obviously, we're going to begin our path towards Survivor Series War Games, which was announced for November 30th. So there's a lot of time between here and there, which will allow them to build a really, really good story. And I've got to tell you, I cannot wait. I think we're in for a really, really good Survivor Series card when it happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, though. Is that where we're headed? On the other hand, there's Cody Rhodes. Who do you think is going to be his next opponent? The Bloodline story does not need Cody Rhodes. So I'm hoping that Cody moves on and does something else for a while this Bloodline story takes shape. All right. I've saved these last two matches on purpose because they both surround the Judgment Day, and a lot happened involving the Judgment Day. Ria Ripley, Liv Morgan, that match opened the night with Liv defending the Women's World Championship against Ria. Ria obviously never lost the championship. She had to vacate it due to injury. This was her first match back. Now, recently on Monday Night Raw, Dominic cut a promo on Liv saying that he hated her and that she ruined his life. He threw his allegiance behind Ria, and this is how we get to SummerSlam. Ria makes her entrance first with Dom. The two of them are holding hands. They're kind of talking to each other, touching one another a lot. And during that entrance, I posted on X that Dom was being too affectionate towards Ria, and he was definitely gonna flip. Now, in the match, we saw Ria Ripley get a chair, and she was going to hit Liv Morgan with it. Dom takes the chair away from her, though, and says, "You can't win like this." This distraction allows Liv to hit Oblivion, but Ria kicks out. The match would continue with Dom continuing to encourage Ria to try to help her win, but it would end when Dom would distract the referee so that Liv could hit Ria with Oblivion again onto the steel chair. After the match, Dom would go with Liv. The two of them would kiss once again in the aisle, and Ria looked absolutely distraught. Liv escapes with the Women's World Championship and with Dominic Mysterio, and I gotta say, things are about to get real in the Judgment Day. In fact, we would see that begin to play out a little later. There was a backstage segment in which Damian Priest came into the Judgment Day clubhouse and just lit into everyone, especially Finn Balor, asking, "Was this you? Did you know about this?" Damian wants to know where Dominic is. They say they'll go look for him. Finn says, "Thanks for the trust," and they all leave. Now, fast forward a little later in the night, we see them in the clubhouse once again. The guys return and say they were unable to find Dom. Damian says it's no big deal. He figured he probably left, and Damian apologizes to Finn for the way that he acted. And Finn says, "I'm sorry too. The Judgment Day comes first." Finn's gonna flip, right? So let's get into the match. Gunther versus Damian Priest. Gunther challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. Late in the match, Finn Balor comes to the ring. He's pounding on the mat. He's encouraging Damian. Damian hits a South of Heaven chokeslam and a Razor's Edge, rolls Gunther over to get the pin, and Finn Balor puts Gunther's foot on the ropes. And Damian sees the replay in real time while he's in the ring. That distraction is what allows Gunther to get the advantage. Gunther is your new World Heavyweight Champion, and this is one that I got wrong, and I'm mad about it because up until the day I made my predictions video, I thought Gunther was going to win the championship. But the way the Judgment Day story was going, I kind of thought that Damian Priest would retain so that that story could kind of flesh itself out a little bit more. However, what we're getting instead is Gunther as the World Heavyweight Champion, and I'm assuming we're going to get a nasty feud between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And I can't wait for that feud. I think that that feud has the potential to get to CM Punk, Drew McIntyre levels. Both of these guys are bigger stars than they get credit for. They're both very underrated, and I think that this can elevate both of them. Maybe we even get to see Demon Finn Balor come back, which would be awesome. Now, the reason I saved those to talk about together is obviously because of the Judgment Day story. But the big question is, where does the Judgment Day go from here? The streets are saying the Judgment Day is over. I don't believe that for a second. I believe that Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are out of the Judgment Day, and Liv Morgan and Finn Balor are the new faces of the Judgment Day. I've seen some comments that the Judgment Day without Damian and Rhea can't draw, but that's what the Judgment Day was created for. Edge created the Judgment Day with Rhea and Damian Priest, two superstars that didn't have a lot going on, and he made them into main eventers. He made them into household names, and I think the Judgment Day can continue to do that. They can get Finn Balor back to a place of prominence. It can help Liv continue to develop good storylines. She's been doing some of the best work of her career as a result of this Judgment Day story. And for her to move in and take over the Judgment Day, she will have officially completed the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. She took the championship, she took Dom, and now she's taking Rhea's whole family. This Judgment Day story has so much more story to tell. Like I said in my predictions video, we are in the third inning of the Judgment Day story, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. So let me know your thoughts on that. Where do you see the Judgment Day going from here? Do you think they're going to break up, or do you think we're seeing Judgment Day, I guess it's 3.0 now, and I'm stoked to see it. I hope they continue with this storyline. All right, let's talk about this PLE overall. What grade would we give it? Overall, for me, this was probably one of the PLEs of the year, if not the top PLE of the year. I think SummerSlam was probably been the best main roster PLE that we've seen this year. For me, I've got to give this thing a solid 9 out of 10, and there are a couple of things that pull it down from a 10. One was Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. The match just wasn't next level. Every other match on the card was incredible. Every other match on the card delivered. It had drama, it had excitement, but Braun versus Sami just never got into that next gear. I did say that I was glad that Braun got the win and that he got it in a semi-dominating fashion. I stand behind that, but the match itself could have been a little bit better. The second part of why I pulled it down a little bit more was just because of the way that the Judgment Day story happened. I think we could have got a little bit more out of that. Finn Balor just put Gunther's foot on the ropes. Really, that's it. That was the whole turn. I would have liked to see a little bit more direct interference from Finn to really solidly say, I'm out, you're out, whatever he's trying to say. I would have liked to see a little bit more from that. I would have loved it too if Rhea had come to ringside after that and gotten his face, and maybe we see the rest of the Judgment Day trying to pull each other apart so that we have all these questions of who's going to end up on which side. Are we going to see them kind of splinter completely? Or do we see Dominic and Liv team up with Finn and JD? Where does Carlito fall in all of this? Does anybody care? That kind of thing. I would have liked to see a little bit more to add to some of that drama and confusion. Not answers, just more questions, right? Like, let's create more drama around this whole thing. We'll get a lot of that on Raw tonight, I'm sure, but I would have liked to see a little bit more drama in that category as well. The last thing that I'll say is I'm still a little salty that the Wyatt Six were not on the card at all. Less about their match not being on the card and more about just no presence, no acknowledgement, nothing at all about the Wyatt Six. Not even so much as a backstage segment from Chad Gable. You know, there's something to kind of continue trying to promote their story. And again, I know we're getting that on Raw. I know it's been promoted for Raw. I get that. But at the same time, I would have liked to see something on SummerSlam to kind of push that story forward. Last thing I wish we would have gotten at SummerSlam is maybe one more return. I'm really, really looking forward to the return of Alexa Bliss. Whether she gets into the Wyatt Six or not, I'm really just excited to see what she does when she comes back. And so I really hope that she comes back soon. But I feel like every time WWE programming is on, it's like, is Alexa Bliss going to come back? Is Jimmy Uso going to come back? We did get the comeback of Roman Reigns, which was incredible. And even in my predictions, I said that I thought that was going to be the only one. I just wanted to be wrong about that. I would have loved to see Alexa back. All that said, though, I still give this PLE very high marks, 9 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How would you rate this one? And where do we go from here? Up next, obviously, is Bash in Berlin. So we're going to see Gunther defend the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm certain of it. And we'll see what feuds continue as we move towards that. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a bit on Rumble Rewind. Before you go, hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload. All of these are great ways to support the channel and help us grow. And again, once we get to 200 subscribers, we're giving away some CM Punk stuff, and we'd love for you to be eligible for that. If you like this content and you know somebody else that you think might, go ahead and share this video as well, as that's another great way to help us get out there. We do post a couple of times a week, Raw, SmackDown, NXT reviews, PLE reviews, and then as news and rumors happen, we'll comment from time to time. One of my favorite videos that we've done is on the possibility of the WWE introducing women's mid-card championships and all the thoughts around that. If you want to check out that video, you can check it out right here. But again, thanks so much for hanging out with me for a bit today. We'll see you on the next one.